Welcome to the morning show. That's right. If you're driving or drinking your coffee or drinking your green tea, which Mia is probably wired on right this minute.
I am.
It is her drug of choice. That is right. I've got Mia Mocha here in the house. Follow us on Twitter, Mia Mocha _ myself at Aaron M. Sanchez. And our next guest, I'm very excited about this guest because she does a what is called Oponopono, an ancient Hawaiian art and practice of problem solving for achieving peace, clarity of purpose, and living more effectively. And the reason I'm excited about this is she actually trained with Dr. Hugh Lin, which if you look him up on YouTube, he talks about this Oponopono. It's a very interesting story. So welcome to the show, Mabel Katz.
How are you? It's great to be here.
Thank you. We are good. So tell us, what is Ho'oponopono? What are the sometimes the misunderstandings of what it is and what is it actually?
Yes. Well, the first thing that I have to tell you is that it's very easy to do and it works for everybody. Ho'oponopono is a very ancient Hawaiian art of problem solving that says that everything is actually a memory playing in your subconscious mind. So everything that we call problems, challenges, difficult people, just a memory playing, like a program. Like when we work with a computer, so something shows up in the monitor, you can talk to the monitor, but I don't know if you guys tried it, it doesn't work. The monitor cannot do anything. So,
Agreed.
So yeah, basically, Ho'oponopono is the delete key. So in life, when we complain and blame and try to change people, we are actually talking to a monitor. But now you have to realize that the power and the control that you have is that you can choose to delete, to take responsibility, what is going on in me that is creating or attracting this, and you can just delete.
Wow, that's huge.
It is, and Dr. Hugh Lin. Now, I didn't know you trained with him. How did you come to meet him? How did that happen? And can you share with our audience who he is and why this was, how he made a difference?
Yes. Okay. So, I actually met him. I have to tell you a little bit, very short, that I used to be a tax accountant here in Los Angeles. I was a tax specialist. And I've been trained as an accountant back in Argentina, where I'm originally from. And I was looking for happiness. I was looking for peace because I had everything that anybody thinks that it needs to be happy, but I was very unhappy. In my search for that happiness, I saw still a lot of drama because we are addicted to tell stories or to blame somebody for our problems. And on my path, I said there has to be an easier way. I didn't buy into the thing, I had to find out, who did to me or what they did to me, that I'm like this. So,
what we call the victim mentality.
Exactly. So I said there has to be an easier way. And the easier way actually came to me when I found out about Dr. Hugh Lin and Ho'oponopono. And I felt inspired to go all the way to Omaha, Nebraska to take for the first time in 1997 my first Ho'oponopono training with him. That's when I met him and I invited him to come to Los Angeles. He came in January of 1998 and then I spent over 10 years with him. He was a clinical psychologist, but he let go of everything to do this because he saw the results. And basically, like he used to say, I learned at school that you look at the patient, you feel sorry, compassion. And with Ho'oponopono, he didn't do any sessions at all. He worked for a mental hospital in Hawaii, and he didn't do any sessions at all. He worked with very mentally ill people that killed and raped and did a lot of stuff. He never did any personal sessions or anything, but these people actually rehabilitated. They went actually home, and this mental hospital actually closed. But
Wow.
but it wasn't
Well-
through normal, sessions or therapy.
Well, and it's an interesting thing because it's documented, and if you're just listening to this, you can actually look him up on YouTube. And it was interesting because I believe when this first came out, at least to the author who wrote about his story and wrote about the book, it kind of sounded like a tall tale to begin with, but the author ended up looking him up, right, and
Exactly.
searching him out to find out that this was a true story.
Exactly.
This did
Wow.
actually happen, and he was, So what? Again, for those that are wondering, what is the practice? What does it do? And
Yes.
Yes.
how does it truly help people?
So again, it's about 100% responsibility. This is huge, and I want to tell you, I'm not here to say we are guilty. Responsibility is not synonymous of guilt. Responsibility is what is it really going on in me. So the work that he did at the mental hospital, that's exactly what he did. What is it in me that this person raped, or killed his mother, or did these things? We don't take responsibility because we always think it's somebody out there, yes, or that is somebody else that have to change. We never look inside. We never think that is something inside of us that is attracting things or creating things. We always put it outside, and this is a big one, like you said, and this is very important. I have actually a World Peace campaign that is peace begins with me. Peace within is world peace. When we are going to take responsibility and when we are going to change, the world is going to change. But we are, again, always blaming and complaining and thinking that is somebody else or waiting for somebody else to change. So this is really what he did. He took responsibility and he worked on himself. And working on ourselves, the Ho'oponopono evolved because, the world is changing. We have to realize that what worked before is not going to work anymore. And the Ho'oponopono evolved to the point that right now it could be as easy as saying thank you or saying I love you. And what you are doing, actually, when you say thank you or you say I love you, is you don't resist, because we are always resisting. The thinking is resisting, the complaining is resisting, the blaming is resisting. So you stop, the part of you that thinks it knows, and you connect with another part of you that really has the answers. Einstein used to say you cannot use the same part of you that created the problem to resolve it. The intellect doesn't know anything. The intellect can create wars, but they cannot bring peace. Doesn't have a clue how to do that. The peace is not going to come from an intellect. So that's the part we have to connect. We all have that wisdom inside of us, and we all have the answers and the solutions, but we are looking in the wrong places. We still think we know. So the Ho'oponopono, by a simple thank you, I love you, like I said before, is pressing that delete key instead of talking to the monitor. The monitor cannot do anything. And that is taking responsibility. What is the program that is playing inside of me that this is happening?
Yeah, it's interesting to see this in action because it's also a combining of talking to the inner child, right, and allowing that person to heal from within once one makes contact with that inner child and kind of separating themselves from that. Now,
well, in Ho'oponopono, the inner child is the subconscious mind. We work with the subconscious mind. Where are the programs, the memories? They are in the subconscious mind. Most of our memories come from ancestors. So even when we think we know why we have these problems, no, they come from ancestors. We will never understand.
Yeah, that's pretty deep because
It is.
Mia,
Wow.
we've talked about different types of meditation before.
Yes.
And I mean, have you ever heard of this?
Absolutely not. This is the first I've ever heard. In the fact that he can go into a mental hospital and change the lives of the patients, that's difficult. I've never even heard of that before.
If you allow me, I had an experience. I went into a psychiatrist hospital in Mexico last year, and I presented for an hour and a half. And at the end of the presentation, the people that work there, they told me they couldn't understand how they could stay, the patients were there sitting for hour and a half, that actually they have a patient that is yelling and screaming all the time. So they couldn't understand how this person was sitting there an hour and a half, just sitting there quietly.
Oh, wow.
I went to a women's jail in Mexico last year too, and they don't invite me back because I left them in such a state of peace that they are worried that they are planning something. That they are planning to escape or something.
Okay, that's actually kind of funny. Now, you talk about zero frequency, and we have less than 2 minutes on that before we take a break. But can you explain what that means? Yes.
Well, I'm still a very intellectual person. I don't know how much you know Argentinians, but we Argentinians are very educated. People we think we know. We think we are the best of the the Latin American people. And,
right.
So I'm still a very intellectual person, but as I became spiritual, then I found like a balance, and zero frequency for me is doing what you love, finding that passion. What would you do even if you don't get paid? Because money follows passion, follows love. When you do what you love, when you trust, when you love yourself, everything comes, the resources, everything that you need. So it is about you trusting, going for it, and being in that state where you are in that flow that takes you places. Suddenly you are at the right place at the right time with the right people, and you don't even know how you did it. See, so that is kind of my own experiences of how I changed careers, again, from being a tax accountant to now an international speaker. I mean, I travel around the world.
Well, it's taken you around. I mean, you've earned the title Peace Ambassador and spoken to and presented to the United Nations. What was that experience like being in front of them?
Well, it wasn't really in the big room, that I presented, but I was able to launch my peace campaign there. And it was very important for me because, again, how could I, again, as a senior tax accountant, living in Los Angeles, I could have thought that I was going to come to Vienna to do something like this, and I would have my own world peace campaign. But this is really, like I said, peace is something, it's going to be a joint venture, yes? It's not a one person. But Ho'oponopono is a big and very important piece of the puzzle to bring peace, to bring happiness. I also have, for example, a children's book. I wrote a children's book because I woke up when I was around 40, and I said, wow, my life would have been so different if I knew this when I was young. And I said, we have to raise happy kids. We have to allow our kids to be happy now. We cannot keep telling them the things that we were told, that we know it didn't, they didn't make us happy, and that we are not happy people.
Well, Mabel, I want to thank you for spending time with us here on the morning show. And for those that want to find out more information, just go to Mabel Katz, Mabel Katz, K-A-T-Z.
Yeah, or the easiestway.com, and you have a lot of free resources. You can sign up for the free newsletter, and immediately you receive part of my books and audios if you want to know more.